How y'all doing, everyone? My name is Pikaho. This is our fourth podcast. Greg, introduce yourself.
Hey, what's up, guys? Simply Gray here.
We have our guest today, the owner of DBOG, Sony the Boss. Introduce yourself.
What's up, guys?
All right, so we can get started with the questions. Greg, you want to start us off, or?
Yeah, of course. Um, so what I've noticed that a couple people talk about is like what inspired you to basically make DBOG. You know, DBO and DBOR were some of your previous games, and you decided to do a third. What was your inspiration from it? You know, um, how'd you kind of come up with the concept of DBOG?
Well, I wouldn't say I really had an inspiration for the DBOG because it's basically a sequel to the other games that I've done. But I guess an inspiration would be, I don't know, growing up, I usually play Dragon Ball games a lot and I would get a lot of enjoyment out of them and always thought to myself that, you know, what if a game was like this? How, or like, what if it turned out like this? Or what if the game had this or that? And ever since I got on Roblox, there was some Roblox games that I used to play when I was younger, actually, too, that got me into game developing. So
No, like
I
which
just
ones?
always wanted to. Uh, it's actually a lot. You have to go back in time.
Yeah, that's true. There was quite a
Final
bit.
Adventure.
uh, first Dragon Ball game I actually played was by Robot Mega. I don't know if y'all remember
Oh my God,
the
that game is
first
Yeah.
old as hell.
the first Dragon Ball game. I don't know if y'all remember that or not. It was
Yeah, I
called
remember that one.
The
That was
Ultimate Adventure, I think.
Yeah.
maybe. I don't know.
Uh,
I kind of do remember
all them games back then was kind of the same though. Like they had the same formula and concept.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, that was like the
True,
first
but
one
they
that
were
I
so
played.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were
Also,
kids back
Sparking
then.
Meteor. I don't know if y'all remember Sparking Meteor or not, by Master J,
Man.
the arena fighter.
No, I don't think I ever played that one, but it sounds familiar.
No,
I
Yeah,
remember
this was like in like
an older one I used to
20.
play was Flaming Path, and that was I think the
I
first
remember Flaming Path.
Dragon
Holy
Ball Z
shit! Yeah.
Roblox game I played.
Yeah,
Wow, that's old.
Flaming Path actually came after the games that I first, because Flaming Path was around the time I was already into development. So
Yeah, I remember seeing DBO up on that list. That's cool. I mean, so would you
I'd
say
say,
that DBOG is your last game for the trilogy?
Or last Dragon Ball game. Yeah.
I've been thinking about this a lot actually, but I don't. I mean, maybe it could be my last game ever, honestly,
I feel that.
to be honest, I think I put a lot of too much. I put too much effort into some of the games that I actually do. Like I be wanting to go all out with certain games, but sometimes it may not go out the way as you plan at times, or like you may not
Hmm.
have the assets that you need. So,
Yeah.
and it can also be a lot. It can also put a toll on you a lot. It can be a lot of draining. So,
So I guess that leads us
yeah.
into our second question. What's the hardest struggle when you work on DBOG? What's the hardest thing you think? You could be honest here. What do you think is
Yeah.
the most difficult thing when working on DBOG?
Well, I think the hardest struggle for working on my game is probably time management. That has to be one of the biggest problems that a lot of us have because us in the entire development team don't really have the same time frames as everybody else. So sometimes I'll be working at the night, I'll be working in the afternoon, while someone else works at a whole different time because they're in a different time zone or they have school or they're doing their own thing, they have work, whatever. But yeah, this may be the own problem that's been going on with us actually. But
Gotcha.
slowly, slowly pushing.
Would you say it's improving?
Yeah, of course, it's been proven. We've been making a lot of progress actually
Hmm.
since since the closing.
That's true. That's true. Real
I think
quick.
you're gonna probably come back with a bang on that. So,
How do you feel about closing? I mean, a lot of people don't know why you close. A lot of people say you should be open. Just what are your thoughts on that? Like, so people can kind of know your thought process. Because in the Discord, I kind of try to explain to people why it's closed, but the majority don't know. If you get what I mean.
Yeah. I also
I
agree
mean,
with
yeah, I
that.
get
Like
this question a lot too. Actually, like a lot of people be asking me why I actually closed it. Sometimes they'll just go tell other people something completely different, and that's not even what I said, or it's not even what really happened. But there was there was this one day actually when there was this issue that was going on with Roblox, and there was there was a bug that was affecting every other game, and it was just messing up. It was messing up other people's games basically.
Hmm.
So, and one of my and my I guess my game was one of the games that I guess got into that. So
Yeah, it was
I just took
the
the time to
gyros
close
breaking,
it to
right?
just see what the problem was going on
in
really.
the flying.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
you just see people spinning, just doing
Yeah.
360s like Beyblade. It's like I'm like what? Like I just randomly just everybody just started randomly coming to me
Mhm.
about this, so
Would you say
I
you're
ended up closing it.
working faster with it closed?
I definitely work better while it's closed because
Hmm.
you know I have to worry
Can
about the game being open, worry about fixing stuff in the game. I have to worry about doing updates while the game is open, while pushing new content to the side. So it's
Gotcha.
not.
Yeah, if I can add on to that, I also agree with you keeping it closed. I know why it would be easier because when you had it open and you were updating when it was open, there would be people in the Discord complaining that, oh, I lost my stats, oh, I was in the middle of a quest, yada yada yada. I feel like you just jam doing this big update and making sure things are fixed is the best course of action because things bugs would happen or something would happen when you would update during
I mean,
it
mainly
open.
it's just because of longevity. If you really think
Hmm.
about it, because I don't want to really keep the game open and there's people still playing the game. You know, like
Yeah.
Yeah.
still grinding, still like for you, like you're gonna end up having people reach a million zenny, and like you don't really want that to be happening because
Exactly.
then that would mess up for future things.
Of course.
Because so that's I guess that's mainly on me for messing up with the time placement. But
Hmm.
as I said, a lot of us don't really have the same time, so
Yeah, of course.
trying our best.
Right.
So the next one we're gonna ask is your plan, right? Because we know that space is basically the special saga, and then next comes Boo. But you made an announcement a while back saying that you're kind of gonna change the formula of what you're doing. So what would you say and describe that you're doing with sagas after the Boo saga?
Here's the thing for the Boo Saga, that's mainly where I'm planning to take the game in a different direction. And what I mean by that is, you see how like you have to constantly wait for a big update for like months.
Hmm.
Right.
I don't want to kind of continue that. Like I don't want that to be a habit. Like where it takes so long for an update to come out. While I'm over here trying to make everything be the way it is for the update, so there's no problems, right? So I'm probably gonna try to change the way the updates work. Like I would add in new content, but it would be content that people would mainly want, you know.
Gotcha.
So for example, like I know a lot of people are expecting stuff from Dragon Ball Super to already appear in the game. So and I guess we're kind of getting past to the point where all the seed content was in the game. And here's the thing about my games: I like to add as much things as I can into my game.
Hmm.
That's the thing about me. When it comes to Dragon Ball, I like all the extra details and all the extra content that Dragon Ball has in general. Like I love the movies,
Hmm.
the specials. I love the filler. I just like having those type of things in the game because so it just feels like it's the actual Dragon Ball game and it feels really dedicated, honestly.
Yeah,
So
I gotcha. People don't understand how big DBOG actually is because there's a lot more than people realize. Like the customization, right? You have hundreds of moves with hundreds of color options, with hundreds of clothing, with a solid amount of accessories. Personally, I think more accessories would be nice, but for now we do have quite a good amount of accessories. A metric fuck ton of clothes, metric fuck ton of moves. There's quite a bit, and I don't think people give it the credit where they just say, oh, it's just a fighting game. Oh, there's only sagas to do and that's it. When in reality, there's quite a bit more to do, and I don't think people really get that. If you get what I mean.
I can see where Gray's coming from here. They kind of just
And here's the
see if I can
thing:
put it.
when I actually add a bunch of those type of things, I actually try to put some kind of effort into those things, not just like, oh, like this is just a copy and paste of what this is. Like I actually try to make certain type of things different,
Hmm.
but can't always get that taken into account. But
Gotcha. So from DBO to DBOG, what do you think has been like changes? You know, what do you think improvements have been? Obviously, some are clear, but from a developer scale, how would you say the process has been in the transition from, you know, your previous games to this new current one?
well, as you said, it's obvious, but I guess just developing a game really is what improved. Like you don't develop games the same way as you did before
Mhm.
compared to now. Because I've been developing games since filtering enabled wasn't really
Yeah,
mandatory
yeah,
and
before that too.
exporting wasn't really a huge thing back then. Like it was so rare to see exporters a bunch of exporters in the game all at once.
Hmm.
But development has really changed since then. I've been actually made DVO in like 2012 or 13, one of those years. So it's almost about to be a whole decade.
Yeah. You were young back then, right? You were
Holy shit, that was about a
13,
decade,
14 back then,
Yeah,
almost a
right?
decade.
yeah, I was pretty young.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. Yeah, there's been quite a big changes. I mean, filtering enabled was one thing. You did have to remake DBOR, right? Because of that.
Yeah, I remember closing down DVOR back then
Mm-hmm.
because
You had
I
a
guess that it became
Yeah,
mandatory to
that
have
was a
that as
wait.
a thing.
yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people still talk to me about that. A lot, you'll be surprised. A lot
Yeah.
of people still ask me why did I make people wait that long for that game.
No, you did pretty much remake an entire game though. So I mean, when you remade it, you remade basically your whole game. So I think the time you spent on it was, you know, normal. You
Ain't you
know.
also have a? I remember in the description for DBOR. Damn, it was young back then. It's something about school that was in your way. Forgot about that. It was in the description of DBOR. It was closed for a while, and yeah, I think you had something to do with school. And it was like it was something. Yeah, it was something like that in the description.
I mean, yeah,
Yeah,
but
that was a while ago.
yeah, I mean, we were all young though. We were all in school. I mean, now we're like us at least. We're like 20 or so, right? We're adults now.
Yeah, or over 18. Yeah, we pretty much adults now.
DBR was like when we were like 15, 16, and we were all playing it still, you know. And shit, DBO, we were literally kids. Like people were
Damn,
born
DBOR was so fun.
after DBO. Like that's like some people that play DBOG never played DBO because they weren't
Yeah,
born at the time, which is crazy. Like it's crazy to
you
think about.
basically
Like
grew up with a series. Yeah.
I mean I mean, would you call the Dragon Ball community its own community still?
I mean, at this point, I feel like it's evolved to an anime community. You know, because the people
Pretty.
that
Yeah.
Yeah,
that
because
played specific games, they play.
I think the Dragon Ball community is just completely dead at this point, honestly.
Yeah.
Because if you really think about it, the time back then it was completely different to what
Hmm.
it is now.
And then back
Like
then, you know,
you can really remember bunch a bunch of things from that era, right?
hmm
And not much
Uh,
people really remember stuff from that era. I don't really see people talk about it as much
well,
or even
Dragon Ball Z as a
remember it.
show
But
is just iconic at a point. You know, like people play Dragon Ball Z because it's Dragon Ball Z. You know, and then
exactly.
back
I
That's
mean,
then
yeah,
when
but like
literally.
I'm just talking about like from like a Roblox standpoint, like
yeah,
the community, like
hmm
the community back then in that era, it was
it,
really different.
yeah. There weren't many anime games either. You know, Dragon Ball Z was one of the first genres of anime games. I think. Um, uh,
Yeah,
I believe another one that was pretty popular back then was like fairy tale type
it was
games.
One Piece, and One
And
Piece.
One Piece, yeah, but
Remember?
One Piece has been popular
Yeah.
like forever. That
True.
it's probably because it's still going with like 900
Yeah.
Cause
more episodes.
I can't really remember a game that outside of Dragon Ball was, I guess, in that
That
class.
was
Like
popular.
I really can't remember like a name
Yeah. Um.
because all I really remember back then was Pokemon Break Bronze. That was one of the anime games back then.
Yeah. VTex's
Mm.
Fairy Tale game was pretty
Oh yeah,
popular for a while.
V Texas games as well too.
He
Yeah,
was
the
he was one of
VTEX
the
made
first people.
Golden Age, and that was like one of the best One Piece games I've ever played. That's why it was popular back then. But then he closed it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and also Caribros, the BB Studios.
Oh
Yeah, I
yeah,
remember
yeah.
Yeah, the original Naruto game.
Shinobi Life.
That was old. Wow.
It was old, but it was fun. It was good too.
It was good for its time, I think. I mean, wall
Yeah.
running, you did not see that in Roblox, right? Like chakra running on the walls, that wasn't something you saw.
Right.
That was new, like new.
U-
You would never see
Unique.
that.
Yeah.
I actually used to play the Naruto game a lot. The one with the customized bodies.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't know if
Beyond.
y'all remember that or not.
Beyond.
No. It was
Oh
before
wait. Oh
Beyond.
wait. You mean those 3D things?
Yeah,
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Those are fun as hell.
that used to be my favorite Naruto game back then.
All right, so we're gonna move on to the next question, and probably the biggest one, and probably what everyone's kind of wanting to hear. Space. What should we expect?
All I'm gonna say is Broly.
Mm, that's a strong statement.
Everybody is, but hit because look, everybody constantly asks me about Legendary Super Saiyan. Everybody constantly asks me about the stuff that comes with like the Broly content in my game. Everybody constantly asks me if I'm gonna have stuff on the Boo Saga since it's basically after the Cell Saga. They ask me a bunch of these different type of questions,
Hmm.
and all I can really say is I would expect for it to be special and people to like stuff to come from this update,
Hmm.
but it's just gonna be really surprised because you're not really gonna see things that you're gonna see things that you're not gonna expect.
Hmm.
Basically,
No, I agree with that. Um,
like you may see something that you don't even expect to even be in this update. So just
and yeah, about Broly from a player's perspective, man, just good luck. That
Yeah, he's dead ass, bro.
yo, that shit was something else, bro. Anyways, anything specific you want to tell us about? Anything you kind of haven't told the community that you want to get out?
um, I mean, not really. I'm just a lot of people like to constantly ask me when the game is reopening.
Hmm.
I really can't answer that for you. Like I don't
Yeah.
want to tell y'all a release date and then I don't end up reaching that release date
Hmm.
and then a whole fire is just created and can't put it up.
Yeah.
So
Right.
That's what I like to tell people.
a lot of developers actually have a tendency of doing that and it's not really something it's not really the smartest thing to do. So it's just whenever you feel like you're ready,
Hmm.
that's when you're like you move on your own time whenever you feel like you're ready, honestly. It's always
Yeah.
gonna be there.
Um,
Don't continue
can
to just
let's do something broad. Would you say you would finish this month, or do you think you may still need more time
well
without getting a release date? Like where you are right now, would you say
I'm
that
def I'm
May
def
is good?
I'm definitely pushing for this month. I'm really grinding to push this update up
Yeah.
because after this update, y'all y'all might not y'all might not hear from me for a long time because this is really taking the toll on me.
Hmm. A
Honestly.
solid week or two break. Gotcha.
I, I mean, like from our perspective, I think what you've done already, the wait was pretty much worth it because this is a lot, and it will
Hmm.
keep the community busy for a while.
We just
I
got to make
mean,
sure that people, can't max in a day and build this crazy shit in a day.
Space got that handled. Space got that handled. No way.
Yeah.
I don't think they maxing in a day. Probably
Yeah.
9 in a week.
Yeah,
Space
we'll
is
see.
hard.
We'll see. But yep. So
or just pretty much just wait for it to just drop. That's
yeah,
all I just have really just have
hmm,
to say, honestly.
I gotcha.
'Cause
I got one more thing to add on. So from I'm pretty sure anyone can agree with me on this that DBOG possibly the only Dragon Ball game that has really gotten the combat down straight. Like we can see that you took some inspiration from Budokai Tenkaichi 3 and Raging Blast, like which are both good successful fighting games, and you added it to Roblox, and it's translated so well into Roblox. Like the fighting, like other fighting games on like for Dragon Ball for Roblox, they're pretty much, how can I say, simple. Like the vent like it's not much. It's literally punch, key, charge, go back. DBOG, you have to like for other games you don't even have to charge all the way for ultimates. In DBOG you have to. And DBOG is more no you have to manage almost everything in your bar, like your defense bar, your stamina, your key, and your health. In other games, it's really just health and key. Most mainly, there's so much other stuff you can do in DBOG. That's why I like it so much. It's from a combat
Actually,
perspective. Y'all
let
agree
me
with me?
talk about DBOG real quick.
All right.
So when I first started working on DBOG, I didn't really have an idea of how I was going to go about it with the game. All I really had an idea about it was the gameplay, because when it comes to just Dragon Ball games, I just love the gameplay of Dragon Ball games. That's what really makes it for me when it comes to Dragon Ball games. Because I'm not really like I'm really more of like a I'm more of like a competitive person than someone who just plays games just to enjoy it. Like I like to have fun competitively, and that's really how I started working on this game. Like I was trying to make the gameplay as flawless as it can be. I'm not saying it's flawless, but it definitely has its flaws. But I was trying to make it as as great as it can be, and
Uh-huh.
I didn't really put more thought into other areas in the beginning stages of it. But I feel like it's slowly like climbing into it's slowly stepping back up onto its feet. So like
Yeah,
I
you've
don't know if
improved
I don't know if
greatly.
y'all remember like a couple months ago when I was doing those updates like adding Dragon Balls, adding Kaioken Mastery. That was probably like the best month for the game actually. That's when I was
Right.
really doing the most numbers that I could, and I was on the front page. But I didn't start the game off as like an RPG or like a game that was completely outlined from scratch, like to make it. That I was mainly just looking at it from a competitive point. And another thing about this update, I'm heavily pushing things in like ranked, like and PvP related things. Like I added
Nice.
titles recently to ranked. I added shrieking. I added a bunch of because you
Hmm.
see like these popular games that's going on right now, like Anime Battle Arena, right?
Hmm.
A bunch of people love that game just because how competitive and PvP related it is. So,
Right.
well, I guess you can say my game is an RPG, but that's not really how I looked at it in the beginning because I didn't start off as an RPG game. I literally started off just making gameplay first,
Hmm.
like literally making the combat from scratch,
Yeah,
and
I remember.
the combat has changed so like great. Like you remember how the gameplay was back then, right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
almost a whole different game at that point. I mean, when
It
combat
it
first
really
started, it
is.
was way different. Way
Like
different.
Like I literally just make Dragon Ball games just because I just love the gameplay. Like I love like a perfect gameplay of a Dragon Ball game. That's literally why.
Yeah, you didn't make an RPG. You know, you didn't go for a fighting game. You went for a game that resembles Dragon Ball Z as best as possible. And I think you really hit the nail with that one. Because, you know, games just have that basic formula, right? Um, level up, new transformation, be stronger, boom. Difference is,
I say I put more depth into gameplay than I did in the actual game. If
yeah,
that makes sense.
it's a Dragon Ball game. You know, you're not just fighting to level up; you're fighting to fight, right? That's the whole premises, right? You're just playing Dragon Ball Z at that point.
And that's why I don't think the game really excelled to the peak that it should have excelled to
Hmm.
because of that. Because
Hmm.
although I focus mainly on gameplay, I didn't have the stuff to back up the gameplay. Basically, like it was just literally just fighting. There's no benefit from just like just
Hmm.
just just fighting.
Of course.
Like that's why I'm definitely turning things up for ranked. I'm adding a bunch of things for PvP related.
Hmm.
Probably new game modes to expect. A bunch of that.
So I mean, I guess anything else you really want to add? I mean,
If y'all have any more questions, feel free to answer them. If y'all like, no.
let's see
I've
here.
gotten mine all answered. What about you, Gray?
How about this for like future updates? What are you thinking? You know, because apart from sagas, what are things you'd be interested in doing? You know, content wise, gameplay wise. What are some things you want to see yourself in the game? Because you know, I feel like me and Pico and everyone else on the dev team and everyone in the community kind of has, you know, something they would want to see. But realistically, you're the one who makes the stuff. What do you want to see in the game? You know?
Um, Mainly what I want to see in the game is just, well, I would say I'll put more. Like the gameplay is already. I'm not gonna say it's perfect because it
Mhm.
definitely is. It has
I think the
it has
gameplay
its
is
flaws.
good enough. Yeah,
It
it's
definitely
done
has
its
its
job.
flaws. It has flaws I don't even like honestly, and I'm the one that made the game. Uh, well, I mean, I just want to. I just. Like, how do I put this into proper words? Um, I guess I would just. Yeah, I can't spit the words out.
I mean, you can think about it. There's no rush.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to cut this.
um, I mean, would
Don't
you say
forget.
it's like you want to see how it's thriving, right?
Like like people don't really see my game for the gameplay. They really don't see it.
Mm-hmm.
A bunch like 90% of my players don't really see the game for the gameplay. Like it isn't as appreciated, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Because I really put more thought into the gameplay than I did into the actual game, and I feel like the game is more talked about than the gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
And what people say about the game is it's lacking. And I can understand why people say that, but also understand I have put effort into the game.
Mm-hmm.
And as you can see from the gameplay, not a lot of people really go all out and put the effort into gameplay like how I have. If I'm
Mm-hmm.
a I'm if I'm a really speak from a player's perspective, because as you said, a bunch of Dragon Ball games they take a very simple direction. Like
Uh huh.
a bunch of Dragon Ball games, you just either punch, punch once, punch like it's just two button clicks. Like I actually put thought into the gameplay. Like people like to say my game is complex, it's too much controls. But if you actually put the time into the game, you're not gonna be really saying that honestly. And that's why I just feel like a lot of people should pay attention to that more and be more appreciative to that.
That is true. There's a quite a bit of fighting styles. You know, everything works different. I don't think people notice
Yeah,
the smaller details, but the smaller details are there.
Yeah.
definitely.
Um, I guess another question. I mean, we'll just ask a
Wait,
couple of questions.
I
Huh?
think I have a. Yeah, I got another
Oh
question.
yeah, go ahead then.
It's a So this question isn't really from me, but it's something I've really been seeing a lot. Personally, I don't really believe it could happen, but like Grace said, you are the creator of the game and you've done it before, so it can possibly happen. And I'm talking about mobile. Do you think mobile DBOG could ever exist? Because it worked with DBOR,
It's
but
definitely possible. I don't know if y'all remember or not, but I actually made an announcement in the possibilities channel on my Discord, and
yeah,
it was just a screenshot of DVR mobile, and
right.
it's in the possibilities channel, so it's definitely possible. It's something I've been thinking about for a long time, but it's just nothing that I really want to put into my mind right now because that's a lot to think
Yeah,
about
that is quite a bit.
currently.
DBOG
Mm.
Pocket Edition for some other time, buddy.
Like even if it is possible, I just really don't see it working as much. Only because like if you're playing on mobile, I'm pretty much you got to give up on PvP because you're about to get bodied. In mobile, you move a lot slower,
I
No
a
mean,
guarantee.
you
lot
you
slower.
you you never know. There's probably some
I mean,
mobile master that you don't know about,
yeah,
That's true.
there's some Xbox players there. They're deadly in DBOG because they just been practicing. Excuse me, the controls. It just
Right.
how intuitive
it
we can
might
make the controls.
it might be a top five mobile player. We don't even know
All right, that's all I got. What you got, Gray?
A couple of questions from people. Um, how do you feel, or what would you expect from, like, let's say, let me reword that. My bad. Um, okay. So players are curious as to like how specific things would end up working. Um, people are asking about hyperbolic time chamber. How would you see that working? Do you have a concept, an idea?
Uh, I actually said the concept in the possibility channel as well, but I'm still really thinking about how the time chamber work because I'm actually trying to make it unique and not just another gravity room or just something
Mm-hmm.
like that.
Uh,
I'm actually
Yeah.
trying to think of like a unique way to add into time chamber. So you can either choose the time chamber or the gravity room. You either choose one of the both. But actually, I actually sent it in the possibilities channel. Is right here. Here's the details. The time chamber is where you can train and get stronger each time you enter. There's a progression bar called limit break, which you are supposed to max out to earn a skill point. So basically, you'll be doing certain activities and it would increase your limit break bar. And once your limit break bar maxes, you would earn a skill point from time chamber. So basically, the time chamber would be earning skill points, and the gravity one would just be gaining EXP quicker.
that I
So
like.
it's two different training methods basically. You either want this one or the other, or use both.
I like
Either
that.
one.
It's like just imagine a level 350, but like with the stats of like a level 400 or something.
Yeah,
That I kind of
definitely.
like that.
It needs to be put more thought into it because you don't want it to be an overpowered thing that people
Mm-hmm.
just resort to. So
Yeah. Should definitely be some type of difficulty to it. Not something you could just easily go in and do.
there would be different activities like meditating, working out, fighting.
I gotcha.
Yeah,
Yeah.
different like versions of training would be added that into DBOG would actually be pretty unique and cool because another thing I really liked about DBOR was the introduction to mentors. And my favorite mentor to do literally just for fun was
It's
Piccolo.
Piccolo,
Because I
right?
think,
I
yeah,
knew
he was
it.
the only
I knew
mentor who had
it.
dinosaurs, dog. Like, he made you fight whole dinosaurs, and
Man,
it was fun.
those dinosaurs were something else, bro.
You did not see that back then. Yeah, the dinosaurs slipping across the screen.
Yeah.
Speaking of that,
Actually,
weren't there saber-toothed cats in DBR at some point?
yeah, there's actually I have the model stored away. It's still there,
Oh
but
my god.
that was before I thought about adding extra mobs like that. But
I gotcha.
yeah,
um,
so adding on to the time chamber actually, it says once the limit bar is maxed, you'll earn a skill point, but the maximum amount of skill points that you can earn from each session is 50 skill points. There will be a timer that lasts until 30 minutes basically. So you can only be in the time chamber for 30 minutes. And once you reach the maximum amount of skill points that you can earn each session, which is 50 points, you won't be allowed to return for a whole entire week. So if you get 50 skill points from the time chamber, you can't come back for a week. But if 30 minutes expires, you won't be allowed to enter for an entire day.
gotcha.
Okay.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I can see that working pretty cool.
So I'm still trying to figure out ways to make it balanced and
Of course.
not
Oh,
overpowered.
here's a question that the community probably really wants to know. How is fusion gonna
Uh,
work? Because you've been teasing that greatly, and they're pretty much really excited for that one, but they don't know how it's gonna work.
I mean, here's a question: how does the fusion dance work in the anime or the show?
You said the same way as the anime.
How does
no,
the fusion dance work in the anime?
Uh, if you like, you do a dance, and if your partner has to be as close as the power level as your other partner, and they can fuse.
there
And
you go.
there you go. That's how the fusion dance will work. Like, I don't know how else to explain it. Well, the details that I could give about it is you can fuse with anybody basically. You can literally
Okay,
fuse with like you can be a level 500 and fuse with a level one, but your stats will be reduced heavily. So basically, I don't like have y'all watched y'all watched the whole entire Blue Saga?
Yes.
yeah,
All right. So when Goku was teaching Trunks and Goten the fusion dance, Trunks is actually stated to be stronger than Goten slightly when they were about to practice the fusion dance. So Trunks had to lower his power to match Goten in order for the fusion dance to be successful. So
right,
basically, your stats will be lowered to the person that you're fusing. That like whoever's the lowest person in the fusion, their stats would be the dominant one. So your stats would be lower to match their stats, and then you combine both of them into one.
okay,
That's the fusion dance.
So in terms, you want to fuse with, someone that would benefit you instead of someone
yeah.
that would be a
Basically,
detriment.
choose your partners right.
Like
Yeah,
look at this way: Goku fuses with someone like
Hercule.
Hercule.
Hercule, he would be weaker. Or if I don't know, Vegeta fuses with Zarbon or Kui or something, he would be weak
Maybe way
weaker.
weaker than his normal form to compensate for the
Definitely.
fusion. That makes
But
sense.
if you fuse Goten and Trunks, you would get a stronger fusion.
Because they're similar.
So the closer you
Yeah,
are,
they're not
the
too far from
stronger
each
you'll
other.
be.
Yeah,
So let's hope people don't make weird abominations with their fusions.
they will.
And another thing is, a lot of people ask me if you go Super Saiyan, if you fuse with another race, all transformations are disabled if you're fusing with another race. So you can't go Super Saiyan if you fuse with a Frieza race. You can't go Super Saiyan if you fuse with a human, a Mechian, Yardratian. You're
Could
literally
they? What about they preform? Like, what if they're already in Super Saiyan to fuse, and then would they have the same stats as a Super Saiyan?
the fusion dance will not
It would
work.
do the base stats, wouldn't it?
Oh, it
So
won't
the
work.
multiplier won't even be applied.
Okay.
You can only use your transformations if your fusion
The same
your
race as you.
fusion partner is the same race as you.
That makes sense.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
If you fuse with a race that's not your own, would you get double abilities or would it just be just one ability? What are your
Or
plans
maybe
for
the
that?
dominance ability would be the
Whoever's in
ability.
control of the fusion, that ability is active.
Gotcha. So I
So
Could
mean,
they switch
basically,
control?
basically, let's say I'm a Saint and Gray is a Freezer race. If I'm in currently control, my Saiyan ability would be in effect. If Gray is in control, his ability would be in effect. So
mhm,
if he's in control, he gets faster charge. If
that
I'm
could
in
be deadly.
control, I get double damage
No.
at red.
Okay.
That could be
So you
pretty
can
deadly, to be
switch
honest.
control. Okay.
Because imagine, let's say Bojack and Saiyan, when you're about to get attacked, switch to your Bojack character so you can tank the hits, and then when you're attacking, switch over to the Saiyan and get some damage out. You'd need a lot of teamwork, but I mean, the results could be pretty fucking insane.
I mean, yeah, fusion
Definitely.
requires synchronage, so
I mean, well, we're 40 minutes in. I mean, is there anything else do you guys want to add?
Any
I think I'm
questions y'all
straight
have?
now.
I mean, I'm kind of good. I think we gave everyone a good taste, a good spoonful of
Yeah.
information.
Uh,
All right, so I guess we'll call it
That's
there.
all from me,
All right.
folks.
All right. Thank you so much, Sonny,
All right.
for joining us. We appreciate you, all the hard work you put in. Seriously, you do a great job. You did a really good job representing Dragon Ball Z as a game.
No problem.
We hope to see you more.
Tired.
Yes, sir. Take a nap.
Taking a toll on my body.
All right,
That's it
handle
for
that,
me.
man.
Good night, everyone. Pico.
All right, good night, y'all.
Take
Thanks,
care,
Gray.
y'all.